Special thanks to Kiwico for sponsoring the video you're about to watch. More on them later. Hey everybody, Adam Savage with a tool tip that I am surprised that I am giving. I'm surprised because this is a tool that I've been seeing in the world for like a couple of years, and I just kept thinking to myself, that's not real. That doesn't really work. So I want to, sorry, I always get frozen here because I know that you've clicked on this link. You've already seen like what this video is about. So we're mixing paint. It's a paint can mixer. However, like I kept seeing this on Amazon. Like it would show up in my feed under my recommendations, and I kept thinking, that can't solve that problem that well. I mean, come on. But it really, really does. Okay, so whenever you're painting stuff, mixing your paint is absolutely paramount. And in a spray can, it is one of the bigger pains in the ass that I, as a maker, encounter. Because you have to sit here. I know. I know that's not how to open paint. Okay, so when you have a new can of spray paint, or even an old can of spray paint that you haven't used that day, you should shake it, they say, for like a minute. But to be fair, really you should shake it for a lot longer. Or it turns out you can buy one of these things, which is a chrome cup with a foam liner that fits a can of spray paint. You simply chuck it into your drill. There we go. I reverse the direction like 3 times. And then that is a beautifully mixed can of spray paint. I'm like blown away by how well these work. I'm going to show you. So here we go. That is a sheer pleasure to use a can of spray paint that you have mixed with this. But that's not the end of the tool tip, because as soon as I realized that this was a real thing, and by the way, if you read the comments on Amazon for a few of these, you'll find that people complain that they fail right here at the join between the hex shank and the cup itself. Other people have said they've welded that. It is built slightly off-center so that it adds a little bit of vibration to the can, and that probably does put a large amount of mechanical stress right here. I have not had this break on me. I have mixed over 100 cans of spray paint in the last few months with it. I'm really digging this, but the reason I dig it is not just because it mixes my Bondo filler primer well, which it does, and I like this filler primer. I really, really like it. Its coverage is good, it dries quickly, it sands well. And that is like one of the hardest things to find in a primer. A lot of filler primers, and to be clear, a filler primer is one in which, just like any paint, you've got a solvent and you've got the material that makes up the paint, which is a powdered pigment. And a filler primer just has a much larger volume of powdered pigment and other things, so that basically when you spray it over an uneven surface, it sort of evens out some of the details in that surface, and you can go in and sand in and smooth things out. But within those parameters, you want a spray paint that, one, dries quickly, dries hard, sands well, and fills well. And in those categories, the greatest primer I have ever encountered in my life is this stuff, PlastiKote. This was the house brand at Industrial Light and Magic when I first got there, and I fell in love with this paint. They make it in gray, black, and red, and I used it for forever. Unfortunately, one of the reasons it's so great is because it's a lacquer-based primer. As such, it uses some highly volatile solvents in order to do its fast drying and hard drying and excellent sanding. And thus, this product is no longer legal in California. You can't buy it here anymore. I don't even think you can get it shipped here. You might tell me wrong in the comments, that's fine. But California has outlawed this, and that makes me very sad. However, I still have a few cans from a case I bought like 10 years ago. So this is, I'm not joking, this is a 10-year-old can of red primer. Now, what happens to a can of primer like this when you leave it for 10 years? Well, inside the can are some volatile organic compounds, there's some solvents, there's some fillers, there's some stuff, and they're all at different densities, and they all have different specific gravities. And I can tell you, if you cut this can in half right now, you'd find a whole bunch of the filler parts of this primer down here, and the solvents and the compressed parts up here. And that means that no amount of handshaking has ever allowed me to properly use one of these cans over the past like 7 or 8 years. No matter how much I shake it, it clogs the nozzle. So I'll have some mission critical thing I really want to prime and I really want to use this. So I'll shake it for like 5 full minutes and then I'll spray and it'll psh, and freeze. And then I got to pull the nozzle, blow it out with air, and then it's the gunk in here. It's the unmixed gunk coming up through the siphon, out through the nozzle and clogging it. So that had happened enough that I started heating my primer. I started running it in hot water and letting it soak in warm water for like an hour before using it. And that worked. But it's like really the protocol I ended up with to make these reliable was that I had to shake it for 5 minutes, then soak it in warm water, let it sit there for an hour, shake it for another 5 minutes after it had soaked for an hour and put it back in the hot water. I'm not kidding. But ladies and gentlemen, this has reinvigorated the 6 cans of original PlastiKote primer that I have, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you now. And no lie, this is a 10-year-old can that's been sitting on the top shelf in my materials area for the entire time I've been here at the cave. Okay, so we're going to put this in. I'm going to give it a little bit of a longer mix. Kiwico offers projects and toys that engage kids in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And I've built a couple of their kits. Last year I made the ukulele. Very recently I made this excellent tilt and fold desk. And what I love about these projects, what I love about their products is first and foremost that a kid gets a box of parts and makes a thing. That is real power. Second of all, I love that everything you need is within the crate itself. They also make excellent holiday gifts that teach kids not just to buy, but to build. And Kiwico has some special holiday projects available as a one purchase in addition to their subscription offerings. Now, regarding their subscription offerings, we do have a special offer for tested viewers. Go to kiwico.com/tested and get 50% off your first month of any of their subscription crates. Don't let Santa have all the fun. Okay, back to the video. Reverse. Oh! Yeah, all right. Let's see here. What are we going to do here? Okay, let's see here. 6 inches. There we go. That. I'm just using the C-wrench to ferry the nut all the way down. That's it. Okay. I think that's it. Let's see if I got it. Yeah! We're back in business. Got a nice vibration going on. And one more reverse for 15 seconds. Woo! Okay. If I've done that correctly, this should spray beautifully. And the only reason I didn't show you a control was because I didn't want to clog one of these ancient, beautiful cans of awesome lacquer primer. and make it unretrievable just to show you guys it not working. That's all. So I recognize my experiment is missing a control, but you're just going to have to trust me, because I'm trustworthy, that this was 10 years old on the shelf. Here we go. Okay. But, by the way, in the intervening 5 minutes, that Bondo primer is dry. It's great stuff. It just doesn't quite have the body, the amount of fill that the PlastiKote had. Okay, here we go. Look at that, and I can keep going. So I have 5 more cans of this, and I'm going to enjoy the spit out of every single one because they're precious to me. I cannot recommend this thing enough. It has literally like revitalized what I consider an old and important relationship. Yes, the weak point that I described turned out to be real and practically weak. I replaced it with a 6-inch ¼ all thread with a nut on both sides, and it worked just fine. I would recommend, if you buy one of these, also buy a 6-inch long ¼ piece of all thread and a couple of nuts, and you should be Jake. Yeah, I think I've covered everything. I'm just really surprised that this broke where I said it was likely to break. Thank you, guys. Hey, if you have a filler primer that you love that's not one of these, that dries quickly, fills well, and sands well, I would love to know about it, so please tell me in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this tool tip, and I will see you next time. Happy painting. One more thing about why PlastiKote is amazing. You almost can't spray it heavy enough to get a drip. You might spray it and see a drip, and then as the lacquer thinner, that is its solvent, flashes off, the drips, I'm not kidding, mostly disappear. Like, this is the least drippable primer I have ever been near.